the a-hole here, from Pristine Fooney. I'm the asshole here for not letting my dad meet my newborn daughter, even though he's changed. I, 29 female, just had my first child, a baby girl, 2 weeks ago. It's been emotional, exhausting, beautiful. All of it. But one decision I made is already causing family drama. I told my dad, 55 male, that he won't be meeting her. Ever. Congratulations on your new baby, OP. I know there will be many sleepless nights, but I hope you enjoy most of them. Because I know you can't enjoy everything. Here's why. My dad was a horrific growing up. He was a textbook narcissist. Angry, manipulative, terrifying when things didn't go his way. He never hit me, but he hit walls, smashed plates, broke doors in front of me, and my mom constantly. He'd scream at us like we were enemies, not family. One time when I was 12, he made me stand outside in the rain for an hour because I got a B on a math test. When I cried, he told me, "Stop being dramatic and start being better." I went no contact when I was 20. It was the best decision I ever made. I spent nearly a decade in therapy, building boundaries and healing. Good for you, OP. It's nice to see an OP who's already done the therapy and doesn't need to be told. Or urged into it. 2 years ago, he got sober after a health scare. Since then, he's reached out several times. Birthday cards, voicemails, showing up at my old apartment once. No. Bad. Always with the same message. I've changed, but never a real apology. Just guilt-tripping wrapped in fake warmth. When I announced the birth of my daughter, just a simple Facebook post, he commented, "Can't wait to meet my granddaughter." I ignored it. Then my aunt called and said he was crushed. I hadn't reached out. She said, "He's trying. You can't punish someone forever." And here's the thing. I'm not punishing him, I'm protecting her. If I let him in even a little, what happens when he flips again? Or when he tries to parent me through her? I won't make my child carry the trauma I spent years trying to unload. Now my aunt and cousins are calling me heartless. One cousin even told me, "If you're so healed, why are you still holding a grudge?" Am I the a-hole here? No. No, you're not. It's up to the person to forgive them, not up to the person who did the wrong. Exactly. OP, good job going no contact with them. I'm not sure I would call textbook narcissist. I don't like calling people narcissists unless they've been formally diagnosed, but angry, manipulative, and terrifying with a drinking problem? Probably some level of narcissism there, but like, maybe not all the way to narcissist. Except, I know a lot of people don't like admitting fault and still aren't narcissists, but I've changed. All you did was get sober. Now, I know getting sober can be difficult. Really difficult. My parents were alcoholics. They did not manage to overcome that. And my family has kind of a vulnerability, I'd say, to alcohol. Which is why I drink. Like, I don't not drink at all, but I drink sparingly. Adult sippies only for special occasions. And not every occasion is a special occasion. But yeah. Thank you for the sippies, Overlord. Just normal ones though? Exactly. I'm almost done with my energy drink, but that's about it. And I have water. But yeah. I think... Well, no, because one of the things narcissists do is that everything is always someone else's fault. So just saying you've changed with no apology does lean into more to probably narcissism. But I've also learned there are different types of narcissism. I think the nicest narcissist story I've ever seen was someone posting who was diagnosed, acknowledged they were diagnosed, and said, "I literally could not imagine that other people didn't like the attention in the way that I did. So I've been going to therapy for this." Because they still cared about their family. Different types is what. That's where they were. That's a world where they were Pokemon. A train of thought just trailed off into nowhere. But no. Setting boundaries, sticking to your boundaries, that's not punishing someone. That's just protecting your own mental health. And it's like, props to the father for getting sober, but that doesn't entitle him to being forgiven. That doesn't entitle him to being a part of OP's life. I wonder if the aunt and the cousins actually know how terrible he was. Did they actually tell him all the things? Like, and if there were, if he's smashing walls, there is every reason to be afraid that eventually he might turn that on to the people, right? There's no reason to think that they never will. From Chat to Spirits, you do. What a name. Not the asshole. I have fiercely protected my children from my own childhood trauma. It just makes you a better parent than he was. Ignore all the sniping. Yep. Refusing to let history repeat isn't heartless. It's responsible parenting. I would be blocking the a-hole ISUP from all social media and not sharing any photos online that your aunts and cousins can see. Yep. Or they are looking at it with rose-colored glasses like it wasn't that bad. I see plenty of reports where people were like, oh, such and such would never be that violent because they were perfectly nice to me. But what people are in public isn't always what they are behind closed doors. And I hope OP does not post pictures of their babies online. Do like messy. Keep them off social media. Let them have the privacy of a childhood that's offline, and then when they grow up, let them decide that for themselves. Tell him he did 20 years worth of damage to you that still lingers. He can wait 20 years until your child has grown up and can decide for themselves as an adult, who can choose to walk away if he shows any sort of mental instability, anger, bad behavior, etc. He fucked up his chance, now he gets to face the consequences. I like this one. If I was logged in, I would like it. Kids should be off social media for at least 11 years in my opinion. Yeah, I can agree to that. Like one of my friends, they only post to Facebook occasionally family photos. But it's rarely only the baby, right? It's usually family photos. I think all those mommy vloggers have normalized putting your kids up on the internet, and they really shouldn't have. I would absolutely hate to be someone who had their face plastered all over the internet as a kid, and then wasn't able to, have input on that. Thank you so much for saying that. It means a lot coming from someone who's been through it too. Breaking that cycle isn't easy, but our kids deserve better. That's what keeps me going. Wait, was that the... Okay. It annoys me because kids can't say no. Right? And a lot of kids don't know to say no. Like, personally, I hated having my photo taken as a kid. Absolutely despised it. And if someone had taken my photos and put it up online, I would lose my shit. I would just hate that even more. I still hate photos? Fair. Same. Jeannie keeps trying to sneak photos of me and I'm like, no, I hate photos of me. Like, are you gonna let me take a photo of you, Jeannie? No, but then don't take one of me. It sounds like the attempts of a narcissist who's afraid of what people will say when there's clearly no relationship. You owe him nothing, she's your future. Give her the future he never gave you. Could be this. Could also just be the same thing we see frequently of people's like, oh, grandbaby. Must insert myself into grandbaby life. Because for some people, the grandchild is a chance to do over your child's life. Because then you don't have them. You don't have the kid 24/7. You can just spoil them for a couple hours and then send them away. And then in that child's eyes, oh, Grandma and Grandpa are so fun and wonderful. Because they don't have to deal with them 24/7. It's not hard for some people to just keep a mask on for a few hours. You owe that man nothing, especially not access to your daughter just because he decided he's better now. Healing doesn't mean you let the same people hurt you again. It means you protect yourself better this time. You did the hard work to get rid of the trauma, so why risk opening the door again for a man who still hasn't apologized? The audacity of your family acting like it's about a grudge when it's literally about safety and peace. Your baby deserves the version of you that's not constantly bracing for impact. I am protective, guys, precisely because I am healed. I now know and understand that many ways in which he's manipulative and cruel, so no, he can never see her. Not the asshole putting the child out in the rain for a bee? Most kids would die for a bee. Don't worry going on contact or low contact with the family members harassing you. Yes. Tell them, just once, if you can't respect my boundaries, I will go no contact with you. And then go no contact when they don't respect your boundaries. You don't owe him access to your child because he suddenly feels bad now. Being a dad isn't just biological, it's about showing up and not fluffing traumatizing your kid. He's had years to do better and he chose not to. Now you finally have something good and they want you to risk it? Nope. I fully get why you cut him out, and honestly, more people need to stop forcing reconciliation when the damage is that deep. Your job now is to protect your daughter, not fix what he broke. That's a good point. And he could be very angry that he can no longer manipulate OP and is like, well, haha, grandparents' rights. I can wiggle my way in. Now, thankfully, most states won't grant grandparents' rights to a baby the grandparent has never met. Usually you have to have known them for a couple months at least. Hello, Gulliver. Hello, Maven. I hope you're doing well today. I'm supposed to be reading a book, but I've diverted to Am I the Asshole? Hey, Maven? I mean cheater. No, Maven's a good bean. And for the YouTube side of things, that's at Card Games, Cardfight Vanguard, not in romance. Maven's a good bean. Sweet interview 5620. Not the asshole. Tell your cousin you aren't holding a grudge, but the fact that he still thinks he has the right to demand to be in my life and has nothing to apologize for proves he hasn't changed. Drink or not, he's still an abuser, just possibly less violent one. However, this is no longer about me. As the mother of a child, it will be my main job in life to protect them and ensure they are raised in a safe, nurturing environment. I would be failing them right from the start if I kept him in our lives. I don't care what he wants, or if he or anyone says he's changed. I owe him nothing, and he is no longer important to me or my life. Sorry, but you have to give a damn to have a grudge, and I just don't give a damn about him anyway. I do, however, care for my child, and I will never endanger her on the off chance he has changes, especially when he's proven he hasn't. Sorry, but this is what the abuser wants me. What the abuser wants means nothing and never will. He doesn't have a grandchild, and I do not have a father. I will not risk my child because someone else thinks I should, and shame on them for expecting me to. Thank you for explaining that. It's fine. I know you two are rivals for the Cardfight Vanguard. Oh, what did you do to the dog? r/Am I the asshole here, from No Sprinkles 7135. Am I the asshole for refusing to babysit my sister's miracle baby after what she did to my dog? What did she do to the dog? So my sister, 32 female, had a baby last year after years of struggling with infertility. We were all happy for her. She called him her miracle baby, and honestly, I didn't mind the attention he got until things got weird. I, 28 female, have a golden retriever named Benny. He's 5. Sweetest boy alive. Everyone in the family loves him. Even my sister used to until the baby come along. One time, I brought Benny over when I visited. He stayed on his mat and didn't bark or even move. The baby started crying and my sister went, I think he's making the baby nervous, and asked me to put him outside in the middle of winter. I said no and left early. That was strike 1. Next time I saw her, she told me straight up she didn't want Benny around her son because he's a dog. I said okay, whatever, and stopped bringing him, but I could tell something shifted. And then one day, I was out of town for a weekend and she begged me to let her stay at my place because hers was getting fumigated. I agreed, thinking it was chill. I come home Sunday night, Benny is hiding under the bed trembling, looking all scared. I find out she locked him in the laundry room for 2 days straight because he was staring too much and that made the baby fussy. No food or water bowl, just locked him in. I lost it. I told her she was never setting foot in my house again and that she was lucky I didn't call animal services. Fast forward a month, she's going back to work and suddenly I'm her first choice for free childcare. Wants me to watch her baby 2 days a week. I said no. She flipped and called me bitter and selfish, and said I clearly don't understand what it means to love family unconditionally. My mom got involved and said I'm being cruel when I could be helping. But this isn't just about a dog. It's about how she treated something I love without remorse and now expects me to drop everything to help her like nothing happened. Am I the asshole for saying no to babysitting my nephew because of what she did to my dog? No? I agree with Everlord. Fluff him. Locked the dog for 2 days, no food, no water, in a small little laundry area. It is perfectly reasonable to not want a dog around your new baby, okay? Not all dogs are going to be as aware of their size as other dogs. They can trip, they can squash, they can lay on and suffocate your baby. Some dogs will get violent. Benny seems like a good dog that was gonna stay in his place, not bother baby at all. Family means nothing, to be honest. I hold family to higher standards. And this is why I call the people you're related to blood your relatives and not your family. You can't choose your relatives, but you can choose your family. But how hard is it to just give the dog a water bowl? Locked in the laundry room. So, 2 days in a room with no water, no food, no cleaning up after the dog had, had to use the bathroom. Yeah, I wouldn't let her in the house again either. Now, I'm not entirely sure if I was in this position, I would say no to the childcare. But I would be like, you understand. This means your baby is going to be around my dog. Because this is my boundary. And then the sister would probably be like, oh, well, I'll find somebody else. But no, you're not bitter. You're not selfish. You have your pet, which is something you've agreed to take responsibility for. Your poor little baby's being traumatized. But they also, what she did to Benny is horrible. You trusted her with him and she locked him away and didn't even give him food or water. And she has no right to claim your time anywhere. But does OP just not have a dog? Not the dog. Does she not have a job? Her own life? Advice needed. What days of the week is she expecting you to take off from your own life to attend to the baby? And why can't mother take care of the baby? I mean, no, OP's sister. I mean, OP's mom. Why can't OP's mom take care of the baby? If OP's mom is like, well, I can't do that because I have work. Well, OP probably has work too. Hello, Rev. Thank you for the like. Thank you for the headbats. And the sippies. I know some people don't like it when you call your pet your fur baby. And Stretchy's okay, Overlord. But when you get a pet, you agree to take responsibility for them, right? Because they have feelings. They have needs. Stretchy up. Stretchy back. Stretchy to the right. And up. Stretchy to the left. And up. This one actually bothers me slightly more on the dog perspective because my uncle's wife, they got a little terrier. Right? Terriers they're small, they're full of energy. A lot of them are working, not working dogs. Like, they were bred for a specific thing, so they have the energy for that specific thing, And when they went to work, they did the exact same thing. They locked him in the laundry room for like 15 hours a day. And then when they let him out, he would just zoom around like a cat with zoomies. And they would complain about him doing that. Look, of course he's done that. He's been stuck in this small little space with all of his energy pent up. And as much as I dislike them and what they did, at least they fed and watered the dog. Like, no one wanted to dog sit that dog because of how energetic he was afterwards. A dog with no food or water will be sick, but why would they be cowering in fear? This. Cowering in fear. They had to have done something else. I'd say they probably dragged the dog in and maybe kicked him. Leaving a dog with no food or water straight up neglect, she lost all babysitting privileges the second she pulled that. Don't even need to read the post, you're not obligated to babysit for anyone. To add, holy crap, read the post and my initial response wasn't severe enough. You're not only not obligated, you shouldn't ever help her again for any reason, her or your mom. That part makes me feel uneasy about them. If they've kicked your dog once, they're gonna do it again. Absolutely not the asshole. People feel so entitled sometimes. I get it if it's your sister and all, but like, zero reason to be cruel. It's her baby, so that's her world. We don't all need to live in her world. Just because her baby is here doesn't mean now everyone has to bow down to her. You are not obligated to babysit for anyone, no matter. Do not feel bad and do not get gaslit. It doesn't matter if the baby's a miracle baby. And do you know there's a subreddits for people who just hate pets? Like, all pets. Does not think anybody ever should have a pet. Not because they like, your animal shouldn't be. They're not like PETA where animals should be free to do whatever they want. Live however they want. Except with people. They're like, why would you ever have a pet? Pets are disgusting. Blech. But also, a lot of times, if you can't trust someone with a pet, I'm not entirely sure I'd be willing to trust them with a baby either. But no, not the asshole. If you never babysit ever, not the asshole. If you go long contact and don't grow up in the baby's life, still not the asshole. You're not obligated to have a relationship. Deleted? No cantaloupe? 8919. What? It's deleted there, but this. I know, I'll tell you a little bit what's happening. I'm in a relationship for 2 years. We have a son. But before that, I have 3. He raised them as they were his. He helped me raise them. He leaves us without eating. Wait, he trusts us badly. He leaves us without eating. Everything bothers him. He tells me I'm annoying. I don't care. I only care about the food. I'm to blame for everything. Get out of this relationship. This is terrible. Post was deleted by the person who originally posted it. Okay, did it come back? No? It says deleted 59 minutes ago, but also... I guess they must have posted it and then automatically deleted it, because I have not refreshed this in a few hours. But unfortunately we can't see the rest of that post as it's been deleted, but no, do not stay in a relationship where someone is denying you food or they're verbally abusive. I wish I could have read the rest of it. /am I the asshole? Educational nature 35. Am I the asshole for expecting my husband to be home every night that we have his kids, my stepkids, at home? Does he work at nights? My husband has 2 kids from his previous marriage, both boys 14 and 12. They're sweet kids, but they're teenage boys. They're wild, they tend to get into fights, they're messy, and listening is not their best life skill at this stage of brain development. I do not have biological kids of my own. I met these kids when we started dating 4 years ago. We've all lived together for about 2.5 years. So you made them at 8 and 10. Long story, but we moved last summer, about 60 minutes from our old home. The move was because the boy's bio mom got remarried to a guy who lived in a different part of the state. to avoid the kids bearing the brunt of the commute, we agreed to move. It's very kind of you. My husband still commutes to work, and I work from home full-time now. We have a 50-50 custody of his kids. During the school year, we never have the kids on Monday or Tuesday nights. My husband enjoys playing in low-stakes bar poker games, so he generally does that on Mondays and Tuesdays. It's a very long drive to the venue where he plays, so he stays with friends near our old house on those nights and doesn't come home. Not my favorite arrangement, but I go out of my way to ensure he feels like he has autonomy to enjoy his hobbies, something he definitely didn't have in his first marriage. The issue has come up with regards to our summer custody schedule, which switches to 1 week on, 1 week off from the normal school year schedule. It recently came out in conversation that he expected to still play in his poker game on Tuesday nights during the summer, and that he was fully planning on staying with friends and not coming home those nights. It has always been our understanding and agreement that we'd be home any night we have the boys here. When I brought this up, he told me he didn't think it was a big deal to not be home 1 night a week and to expect me to handle everything on those nights. I am super uncomfortable being here with them alone. They make me anxious. I hate when they fight. I don't think it's my place as a step-parent to discipline them. This is something that needs a discussion. If they were kids who just read books and sat in silence all night, I might feel differently, but there's always a greater than 0% chance. Even kids that sit quietly and read books, there's going to be a greater than 0% chance that someone is literally throwing punches, and I have no interest in being solely in charge of that situation. I already am the default parent for laundry, school pickup, scheduling, meals, and primary caretaker during school breaks since I work from home. I have clearly communicated to my husband how I feel about being alone with them, so he is aware. Beyond how it impacts me, I don't think it's a great example for the kids either. It's not like my husband is on work trips. It's like, hey, Dad, would you rather play poker than be here with you? I just feel like part of being a parent is you have to plan your life around kid stuff. My husband already has it easier than most because of the joint custody and the fact that I am happy to sacrifice some of the few days we would have alone for the two of us so that he can pursue this hobby. So serve it to me straight, I'm the asshole here. My husband is making me feel like I am, but I just feel like this is making me this is me making a reasonable ask and trying to set up a legitimate boundary. Fair enough, I feel that as a stepkid can get crazy for no reason. It is perfectly fair to be uncomfortable being alone, especially with teenagers who are kind of rowdy. I would get nanny cams, honestly. Any shared spaces? Because you're saying they're sweet kids, right? But there are perfectly normal sweet kids who still accuse step-parents of doing things even when they do nothing. So I would get some cameras so that if anything ever gets accused, you can prove you didn't do it. And for the kids' safety, that if you ever do anything, they can prove you did it. If you don't feel like you have the right to discipline them as a step-parent, that's a conversation you need to have. Where did they say that? I mean, if you're acting as a third parent, then you have the right to discipline them, right? But this is a discussion OP should be having with her husband. And with the ex-wife. Not just that, I hate that he goes gambling. I don't think OP's husband has like a gambling addiction, because then it would be more than just like once a week. But can OP's husband not find a new bar to go play poker at that's in between the two and have the friends can meet him halfway? There's compromises that can be made there. There's apps where you can play, I think you can play like online. Although maybe he's afraid that he would get too addicted that way. And I'd say invite those friends over to have poker night at your house. Fair enough, or why not have the friend meet at his house and play there? Exactly, Maven. Make it not her kids, so not her responsibility. She is acknowledging that she's doing the other parental duties. So like, if you consider yourself having this, then you should consider yourself able to discipline them. Hopefully, this is a conversation she had with her husband at the start of the relationship. Because there are, as we've seen in other posts at other times, that there are parental pairs who are like, oh no, this is our kid. You can't discipline them. You're not a part of the equation. But if your partner is going to say you have no right to discipline them, then you shouldn't be obligated to step up for the other parental caretaking stuff. Right? So OP is taking on the majority of the parenting, like the laundry, the pickup, the meals, and the primary caretaker. And this is probably going like, oh, you work from home, so clearly this is going to be easy for you to do. Just because you work from home doesn't mean your work is going to be easier than someone who goes into an office. I don't want to just go with the refrain of get some family counseling, but yeah, get some family counseling. Just, even if you just need to help setting boundaries, okay? And I also think OP needs a night a week where she can go out and do her own thing. Like go hang out with friends. Go have a fun hobby or activity. OP should not be locked into the mom role who is supposed to be the super mom where she does her work and then takes care of all the other household stuff and the kids, right? Because if he gets to have a hobby that leaves the house, she should also be able to have a hobby where she can leave the house and make the husband take care of the kids all night. Like, I'm glad she's not forcing him to give up his hobby and making him feel like he can't have that the way his first wife did, but it should be reciprocal. From Suggy Beach 1495, back when this was happening to my brother and I, there was no 50-50 custody, so maybe people just view it different now. But for us, if we would go to my dad's house for a weekend and he wasn't available, we'd be wondering why the fuck we were there. To hang out with our stepmom, who we didn't really get along with anyway, when we could have been home instead with our stuff and our friends. Thank you, this is exactly my point to him. The kids never outright say it, but they're always kind of like, oh, so why are we here if our dad isn't? We have a fine relationship, but they don't want to hang out with me. They just want to spend time with him. If you have them for a whole week during the summer, one day a night isn't too much to ask for. But, again, I would move the venue of that one night a week activity. Either to a bar that's closer, or to your own house and have your friends come over. And then have your friends stay in the guest room. Because again, the kids want to spend time with their father, but also, and this is Reddit sinking into my brain a little too much. Having a day a week where you're staying overnight at friend's house gives the husband the opportunity to go develop other relationships of the adult nature without OP knowing about it. Because you have an inbuilt, pre-established alibi. And I don't like that. I don't like that I had that thought, but I also just don't like that. And if you're really that close friends with the people you're staying over with, they should be like, oh yeah, we'll meet you halfway. Like, for the friends should be like, has the wife reached out to the friends and gone, hey, during the summer at least, could you move this closer? But it also sounds like, we never have the kids Monday or Tuesday, so you still have them Wednesday through Sunday. So you still have them most nights of the week. They are at a point where they probably will cut contact if the kid feels like their dad isn't there for them. Depending on where you live, 50-50 custody, until they go back to the court to renegotiate custody, they may not legally have that choice. hopefully if the kid actually speaks up and says, hey, I don't want to spend this time with you if you're not going to be here for me, the parents would listen and adjust. No guarantee they will, though. Not the asshole. The whole point of the custody agreement is to see their father. They might as well stay with their mother on that day. You're right. It's sending the kids a bad message. It is 2 additional days a week. 100% if he plays poker, mom gets the kids that night. Why should the boys spend their whole time with their stepmom when the dad isn't there? I would like to get into the dad's head. Because what if he's thinking, if I keep this schedule, one, I get to keep my hobby, but also then they'll have a night where they have to interact with the stepmother, right? And then maybe they'll bond. But that's not guaranteed. And then also, stepmother could try to find an activity for them to do together to bond. Because saying you don't have the ability to discipline them, you don't feel you have a right, it kind of sounds like she doesn't have that strong of a bond with them. And if you've been in their life for 4 years, since they were 8 and 10, I think if you've put in the effort, you probably should have more of a bond. Or at least more of a level of respect. I meant to highlight this comment. Not the asshole? How wonderful for your husband. He gets to continue with his interests and hobbies all year round. Because why not? He has you to take over his responsibilities and babysit his rambunctious preteen boys. Seriously, he needs to take a break from his hobbies during the summer when his boys are there every other week. It's not fair to leave that all on you. I hope that you have your own interests and hobbies that, yes, so that you aren't always at home, which gives your husband the impression that you will always be available. I hope she responds to this one. I want to know if she has hobbies. She moved for his kids' convenience. Now he's asking more of her and disregarding OB's comfort and the ability to deal with a pair of boys who also ignore her and physically fight. Not the asshole, your husband is just selfish. His hobby is not more important than you or the kids. And he needs to realize he has to step up because you're not his babysitter. Okay, it sounds like when they moved, like they moved to the same town as the other partner, right? They could have moved like in between the 2 spots. He can still even do his hobbies just every other week. Oh yeah. I didn't think about that, but yeah, he could just do it every other week. He could do 2 days of his hobbies every other week. He gets way more personal time than most parents. He needs to schedule it around the kids. Maybe if he looks more of an interest and stepped up, the boys would fight less. What if they're deliberately fighting to try because she won't step in and they're trying to lure their dad in? The asshole, this is the bare minimum he should do. You're going way more than most, to be honest. You uprooted your life to make his easier, and he still expects you to be the primary parent during his time. He has taken advantage of you and your kindness. He wanted time with them. They are his kids. If they are there, he should be as well. They are not your kids, and it doesn't sound like he is grasping that. Sounds like he's not... Sounds like he's used the "not like my ex" to keep OP in line. You're so cool, you aren't like other women. My ex never let me have hobbies. It's so great you let me have hobbies. That the moment she pushes back against him, taking wild advantage over her, she's not cool anymore. Ooh, that is manipulative if that's what he's doing. Hoping for a whippet, not the asshole. Maybe you have a better idea now of why he didn't have the autonomy to enjoy his hobbies in marriage number 1. His ex probably expected him to be a present and involved father and to take care of his share of the household burden. I wonder how many hobbies his ex had. Do you think your husband was falling over himself to make sure that she had time to herself? If he's pushing all the caretaking onto you when you're the stepmom, he likely was worse with his ex, who's the actual mom. The reason I mention this is, I wonder if you have the dynamic where your husband brings up how much cooler you are than his ex, meaning that you feel the need to be more accommodating so that you're a better than the bitch ex-wife. Like you say, you don't love the poker night arrangement, but you let it go because his ex didn't accommodate his hobbies. But you want to. I wouldn't be surprised if your husband is subtly manipulating you there, especially since you say that in this instance your husband is trying to make you feel like the asshole. He married you so he could have a nanny to raise his kids. He's not interested in doing it. Okay, so OP currently doesn't have her own. I wonder if she's like completely child free, like she doesn't want her own. let's go look at the profile. No, I am not signing in. Go away. Oh, any other advice? It's like from 3 years ago. Okay. Here's a reply from OP to I went up bird. Wow. From Snow Plumman, you moved 60 miles to accommodate his custody schedule. He doesn't come home from Monday a.m. to Wednesday evening so that he can play poker. I thought it was Tuesday night and then come back Wednesday morning. And I hope that's all that's going on. And then I hope that's all that's going on. And then you two have his boys. Wednesday, Thursday, I presume every other weekend. So you guys get alone time together every other weekend. Friday through Monday a.m. Not good. Now he wants you to be the overnight sitter for his boys so he can play poker and sleep over there. You are right to tell him that you're unhappy with this arrangement. You're right to tell him that you're unhappy with this arrangement altogether. You have 3 nights home alone with him every 2 weeks, while he spends 4 nights playing poker and sleeping there every 2 weeks. I don't know what to tell you about this. I would say that you are absolutely right to tell him he needs to be there for his children. But I also think that you would be right to point out to him that he spends 4 nights every 2 weeks on poker, and only 3 nights every weekend home alone with you. You nailed it. That's exactly our situation. It's not working out, to be honest. I have far more self-esteem than when I first started dating this man. I've done a ton of personal development, therapy, and trauma healing over the past several years. When we were looking back at the post history, we did see that the therapy post from 3 years ago. I dearly love this man and I fought like hell to make it work, but it's becoming more and more apparent to me that he does not want to truly be a partner in a relationship. I read your old post about how he is dismissive, avoidant, and how he got frustrated and was unsupportive of you when you had difficulties due to past trauma. Has he grown at all since that post? Has he made an effort? Besides what it sounds like here is that you've made yourself very small and accommodating to his needs. What about your needs? Does it sound like he's meeting them? It doesn't sound like he's meeting them, nor that he is interested in doing so. So it means any kind of sacrifice on his part is doing what he wants to do. Edit, fix the typos. I love the dedication to the research here, and I honestly probably needed this question. Honestly, no, he hasn't. The reason we've made it this long is that I've learned to emotionally regulate and rely on myself. And I've moved from being anxiously attached to securely attached. I still have my trigger moments, but for the most part, and my therapist and my friends would all agree I'm pretty secure and self-sufficient at this stage. The outcome is we have way less conflict, but when we do, his old patterns come right back out. I've been diligently trying for at least a year now to communicate when I'm feeling disconnected in our relationship, and I don't really see much change. My issue is I have so much empathy for his childhood trauma. On some level, it feels like abandoning his inner child to leave this relationship. I know nobody can heal him but himself, but I just keep thinking that if I'm patient enough, we can turn a corner. I do realize that at some point, waiting is insanity. My romantic heart definitely got the best of me on this one. Quick little hello. Hello, Fi. I hope you're doing well today. Yeah, if OP has been working on this for years, I think it's time for them to get out. If she still wants to keep working on it, I would say pack a bag, go stay with a relative. You can't fix people, you cannot. I apologize I didn't pop in sooner, I was too comfy in bed. You are allowed to be comfy in bed, Vi. Sounds like OP's husband needs to be left alone with the burden of the relationship with the kids and not have anyone there to pick up after him and make him deal with the situation. Like, I get OP is probably going to feel guilty for that, but should we go back and look at our old post? From 3 years ago. Need advice support for breaking through past trauma affecting my relationship. I'm gonna look you here for a bit. You can lurk all you want, Vi. I spent the past 3 or so years in therapy and doing the work on my own to try and get to the bottom of and address my mental health issues. I was on medication for years, but I realized meds were just numbing my emotions, not addressing the underlying trauma. I have a long history of SA and emotional abuse in past relationships, and it's an actual cluster to try and unravel the mess that is the first 30 years of my life. I'm currently in a relationship with a man I deeply love, but there are parts of our dynamic that are beginning to feel toxic. I manifest as anxiously attached in relationships, and he is dismissive and avoidant. For those not familiar with attachment styles, his reaction to strong emotions is to dismiss them or become extremely irritated. I've been doing a lot of spiritual work lately, and is bringing up a lot of past trauma flashbacks. If anything in my relationship causes conflict, I spiral quickly, as I'm generally swept up in a flashback of a past abusive relationship. There was a point when flashbacks would make me lash out, but I've worked past all the anger expressions, and now I'm more prone to silent and shut down. I overwhelmingly feel like I want to run away and hide. I'm gonna lie, a relationship you need understanding, you both have needs, and you need to help each other through it. So, as someone can't do that, you need to break it off. I have been told before that you either grow together or you grow apart. When this happens, my boyfriend loses all patience with me. No matter how many times I try to explain after the fact what is going on in my brain and body in those moments, he seems convinced I should be able to get myself together and just navigate those moments. I've asked a million times in a million ways for him to try and just simply offer me a hug or physical comfort, but he is so put off by my emotions he claims he can't. I'm not freaking out in these moments, mind you, just withdrawing, but it always ends up in a huge fight as my boyfriend's reactions are the polar opposite of what I need. Oh, honey, you should have broken off this relationship 3 years ago. They reinforce past trauma for me, rather than helping me work through it. I don't know what to do at this point, and I feel helpless. It feels like trauma healing is never ending, and I constantly feel like I fail or don't live up to my boyfriend's standards, because I'm triggered in so many moments. Wait, how long ago did they get married? I'm starting to struggle with suicidal thoughts again, because I don't know if this is the whole process of healing even works or is worth it. My boyfriend makes me feel like the support I need is a huge burden. I want to heal and get better, but this relationship dynamic feels so damaging in moments. I know he has the capacity to be extremely kind and compassionate, which makes me feel even more like I must be the huge failure, that he supposedly can't show me compassion when I need it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Opie should have gotten out of this relationship 3 years ago before they got married. It's great that you're putting in the work into addressing your issues, working on yourself and being self-aware. It's not okay that your boyfriend is just straight up telling you to get put yourself together. It's not okay that he's quick to get impatient, that these are things he needs to work on. It sounds like he is not in therapy. My ex was like that, and he ended up being an abusive person. He made me very anxious to even say anything at all. It made me feel like I wasn't important or worthy of being listened to or acknowledged, and like I shouldn't be cared for. So I do agree that your relationship is starting to get toxic with this guy anyway. Getting toxic? Sounded like it was toxic from the very beginning. You deserve someone who is patient with you, or someone who at least tries to be their best to be. You needing and wanting support doesn't make you a burden to anyone, ever, and everyone needs support from time to time, whether they're mentally ill or not. It doesn't make you needy for expressing your needs either, or for feeling the way you do. I'd honestly be feeling the same. Telling someone how you feel and then being shut down immediately can be so scary, especially if it's one of the things you've been worried about happening. You deserve kindness, of course you do, and to be cared for because you are important. You're struggling to heal because of how you're feeling is caused by something that's ongoing, and that is the relationship with this guy. There are 2 ways this can go. You address the whole issue, ask him if he's willing to make the change, and if so, he will need to start seeing a therapist, start working on himself whilst you stay together. Or 2, he dismisses you, denies, or is quick to get impatient once again, so you break up with him, or because of the way that it's going, it's too damaging for your mental health. I think OP praising people for looking up at this post, OP needs to look at this post again and remind themselves of this. Thank you so much. I seriously means everything to even have someone understand. I let myself get so convinced that maybe I truly am asking too much and I'm too broken to be in a relationship. My boyfriend makes me feel like I'm insane and unhinged sometimes, and he likes doing an incredible amount of work he shouldn't have to do to support me. It's so hard to navigate what's true when I'm dealing with the kind of dynamic and fighting the internal voices at the same time. Thank you for making me feel understood and like my feelings are even valid. Yeah. Opie, you need to go back and read your post. It does not sound like in all the years that he has changed at all. We've lived together for about 2.5 years. No, OP. You did the work on yourself, and he did no work, and then you married him. At least the house, or wherever they're staying now, isn't premarital assets. But yeah, after reading the last, their prior post, I don't think there's any fixing this relationship. It does not sound like this guy has the emotional maturity he needs to seek out help and grow. And they're in their 30s now. I'm going to copy down their username. Yeah. I'm going to post that in a notepad, and I think I'm going to try to keep track of that. Hopefully at some point we get an update where they're like, we have separated. This makes me really mad, as for someone who is in a relationship, kind of. This man is a shit partner and needs to get his shit together. Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's going to, though. And OP needs to sit down with her husband's ex-wife and ask for her side of why they got divorced. Because it sounds like, just from this, and I don't want to be too judgy, but it sounds like it was his fault. Like, he didn't get to have hobbies, but I think maybe he had hobbies and they were just all consuming. And she was like, I need you to be more present in our marriage and with our kids. And he was like, fluff you. I'm not going to be more present. I'm going to go get a new person. I hate that so much. Oh, here's one with an update. I met the asshole for planning on ending our relationship because he acts like his daughter is the heiress to my things. Okay, so this one had a previous post. Let's go find it. From Stunning Tanglo 8738 from the Am I the Asshole Here subreddit. Am I the asshole for planning on ending our relationship today because he acts like his daughter is heiress to my things? My 37 female boyfriend, Ben, 32 male, has been asking weird questions and expecting me to do things that go against my plans for my own family. Things have been working out for me in the past few years, but this year has been amazing. I decided to cut down on daily workload a bit after I got 3 accounts that are helping me reach some financial goals. What kind of accounts? Are you a business person or accountant? I'm planning on buying a house for my family. I downsized my current living situation, renting after my kids went to live temporarily with my parents for this semester, while I completed my certified training and graduated from my present program at uni. That is kind of awkward. So you had an apartment with your kids, and you sent them to live with your parents. I'm hoping that when she downsized to a smaller apartment or something, it was cheaper so she could save some money. My new place isn't as nice looking as other places, but the price was a good cut from living expenses for me. I can both walk to the office and to uni, and I hardly have to move my car for anything. I'm saving money that I'm putting in. If I had just read the rest of the paragraph. Ben absolutely hates my place. It's clean and in a relatively safe area. It's just that it's a mix of student area, old families, and traffic can get messy from 7 AM to 6 PM. And some houses are simple and elegant, and some look tacky add-ons. I don't care if my place doesn't look nice on the outside. It's not like it's an eyesore, and it's up to me to make it livable on the inside. Did you already buy the house, or are you still planning on it? I am planning on it, okay. I had 2 other choices. Choice A cost $200 less than my previous place, with access to a community pool and 2 bedrooms. I don't need more than 1 bedroom at the moment, and I don't really have time to enjoy the pool. Choice B was a bit lower, but about 45 minutes away. It was beautiful and close to the school where Ben's kid went. He did hint at it, but he would have needed to get on the lease and come up with some difference between this place and my new studio apartment that I chose. Also, living together is a major decision, and right now, I really need to focus on my career and education. He said he understood, but he didn't take it well. He told me that his daughter was disappointed because she would have liked a nice place to hang out. Ben lives in an apartment, is an average place with no problems or issues. So what he said came out as a weird remark. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Fast forward, and he started asking questions. First, he asked if I would be interested in partnering with him for a business idea. I said no, because I already made a commitment to self-fund my own venture. Secondly, I'm not familiar with the industry that he wanted to break into. Then, he began noticing things about things that I owned. I'm not hiding that I'm financially stable, but I don't spend a lot. He did notice that I bought a few nice items and started telling jokes that felt harmless. He said that I was loaded, and his daughter would be an awesome protege. I stayed quiet, to be honest, because I think he might have been offended, but there's no way in hell that I would allow entrance to what I've built to anyone other than my kids. Okay. If what you're building grows big enough, you are eventually going to have more employees than just your kids. But fair. Especially if you don't know the daughter that well. Also, he said I should treat his daughter as very special because I only had boys, and she's my chance to have a girl in the family. His words. Sexist much? Don't mix family and work. Yeah, to the best of your ability, don't. Especially not someone who's just your boyfriend or girlfriend. This makes him sound like a gold digger. That's not the sort of stress you want on a relationship that you haven't even committed to marriage for. And if he went that far, I would say, make sure your finances are separated. Don't let him dig his claws in. But we saw there was an update and they're breaking up, so we don't have to worry about OP. She's got a backbone. But treat your daughter like, because she's going to have a chance at a daughter in the family. OP is not that old. There's plenty of time for her to have more kids if she finds a partner she wants to have more kids with. And then she could have her own daughter. Don't get me wrong, she's a good kid. I have never missed out on gifting her nice and thoughtful presents on her birthday and the holidays, but his words created a sense of discomfort and disgust for me. It felt like reversed sexism, and I told him so. She and I have a decent relationship. There's no way that I will give her access to my money if that means to treat her as my own. I know this sounds very wrong, but it's how I feel. She's not the kind of kid who's a bully or nasty or anything, but she's not my child, and every time he asks for things, I feel like he's trying to get me to take from my kids to give to her. Again, you're not even her stepmom, so it doesn't sound like you have a parental relationship with her. And if you don't even live together. He is trying to ask you to take from your kids to give to someone that you don't even live with or have authority over. Or legal rights, too. It happened again when I gave her a short-term weekend job. The office cleaning lady wasn't available, so I hired his daughter for a Saturday cleaning. She did a good job, I paid her, and took her to the mall to get her some makeup that she wanted, and she came back next weekend. When he picked her up, he started joking that she would start from the bottom and rise to the top executive like any other kid at their family business. I didn't say anything because she was there, but I did approach him later and mention it to him. Good on OP for not dragging the kid into it. I tried to be gentle, but it was important for us to at least discuss expectations. His initial reaction wasn't what I expected. To be fair, I think he got nervous or embarrassed, but I didn't like his reaction. So he said something about me potentially putting her in my will. Hell no. I'd like to clarify that he laughed, so I think it was a joke. But I would take that as a threat. Honestly. But also think that he wouldn't have clarified if I'd gone along. I simply stayed quiet and told him that I cared about his daughter, but it isn't fair to create any expectations. I've worked so hard to give my kids a better future, and it's taken me over 10 years, and the fact that he only sees the results without taking my past and ordeal into consideration feels disrespectful. Don't joke about wills. Exactly. I also mentioned how he wanted me to change my budget and plans for a different property while he knew that moving together isn't an option, and that he stayed silent when I mentioned he would need to pay the difference on the lease. So he didn't even offer to financially compensate. Also, I mentioned that I would not make unnecessary sacrifices. Nothing else was said. He stormed out of my car. This is why I feel like the asshole here, and started walking with his hand in his pocket and a weak smirk. I had to drive slowly next to him to convince him to get back inside the car because I hate Dr. David Bennard scenes. What? He looked like a caped puppy. After I dropped them off, he was sending me texts about being disconnected from what a blended family actually is, so showing that I think his daughter is inferior, being a hypocrite and bullying. This has disturbed my inner peace because I'm just defending whatever legacy I have built, and having to do it against my partner just doesn't feel right. How long have you been dating? It doesn't say. And this is a very childish response. And he's over 40, he should know better. It's also highly manipulative. Like, I can see people getting out of a car and storming off in a rage. As long as they're not in a bad part of town, leave them be. At the most, go pay for an Uber or something. Maybe that's too mean of me, I don't know. We talked about it and he apologized, and I did the same in case I was too harsh. He said we could find some middle ground, and I was open to it. When he talked about helping him create a business for his daughter, I began to get angry again. Because, again, it would be sweat equity for me. I declined because I did all the sweating I had to. This is something like she should talk to his daughter. Like, if his daughter wants to start a business of her own, she can approach OP saying, hey, here's what I want to do. Here's the research I've done on it. Would you be willing to sign a contract saying, I don't know, you get half of it? Or you won't be liable? She can ask for help? Yes, exactly, Overlord. If she's a teenager capable of working a weekend job, like, she can totally have the agency to ask for help. Because she said before that he asked for creating a business with them for himself. And now he's asking for one for the daughter. No. But it was for me, and what he's asking for just isn't fair. It's a responsibility, and I truly like to do things appropriately. I don't want to say yes and do it half-assed, and I don't want to work for free. I also don't want to mix anything between businesses and pleasure because it's my network, my contacts, and again, it could go very nice and well, or it could be a shit show, and I don't want that. I'm also concerned that he will ramp up and keep asking and asking for things. Sounds like he would. He said that if I don't help, he will feel like we will never build anything together. I said he needed to hire a consultant, but he stayed quiet. So I told him that he shouldn't place the responsibility of his present situation on me. He said that I'm probably blinded by my success, but that one day I'll wake up single and lonely. Oh, he's threatening to break up. Manipulative. I asked if he was threatening to leave me, and he said, I'm not acting like a helpful partner. I asked for a break and he freaked out. I'm just trying to keep my mental health in check, because his constant asking and jokes are making me anxious. Also, I'm very angry and thinking that he just wants a handout. I texted him this morning asking to talk. I want to break up. He said he hopes I'm not planning on dumping him because it would be mean that I just tricked him into a break. He posted something about his own mental health today. Am I the asshole for deciding to end things? We haven't talked yet, but that's my intention. I don't see his kid as inferior at all. I just want to keep my money out of it. As you should. Edit. To the judgmental people calling me names for letting my kids live with my parents for this semester only? Please enlighten me. Would it be a great option to reject a good opportunity and finish my education to gain your approval? Alright, because not doing my best to give them a good financial start in life is a better option. Also, where did you get that I'm an absent mother? Did I say I don't see them or spend time with them? To those who offer advice, thank you. For those who disagree but differently jump to mothers should not do what they can to secure their kids' financial future and stay poor but at home. Thanks. That was a hard sentence to read. But the asshole, you're not married, you're not engaged, you aren't living together, but he thinks it is time for you to add his daughter to your will. He's taken advantage. As I said, if someone asked me this, I would take it as a threat. Now, perhaps that is jumping too far into conclusions, but you know, it's like when people take out insurance policies on you and don't tell you. Also, OP, just trust your gut. He is giving you an ick vibe you should listen to. People here will have a million different judgments to pass on you, but the bottom line is that he does not seem to respect the work you put into it and the plan for your family. You don't see how long you've been together, but based on your posts, it isn't long enough for you to want to blend lives and family. That's fair. And by the way, choosing to take a break and then deciding to make it official isn't tricking. You are allowed to change your mind any damn time you want. To not be manipulated. Not the asshole. Yes. I think his end plan was for him and his kid to be the sole heirs, and OP's kids can screw off into the sunset. Possibly. I don't know how you would make that work. I'm not saying he's a gold digger, but if the shoe fits. I'm ready to be kinder, but not by much. Even if he just wants a blended family and starts something together. Like, it is fair to want to start a business together if you're married and you think it would be a good bonding experience. But he's just kind of expecting the husband treatment before even talking about marriage. And he's also expecting the kind of husband treatment and blended family that will make our sons pop up here at some point talking about the moron their mom is dating, demanding respect as head of the household. Listen, I'm sure there's a woman out there who'll love his version of a relationship and blended family, but OP isn't it? She's smart enough to realize that women often get taken for a ride when it comes to relationships, and she's doing good in making sure she's equal participant for a partner too, so she's in no way unreasonable. This is not just compatible. EOD. What does that mean? Ripping the band-aid off. Oh, end of discussion. Ripping off the band-aid and its way to go from there. And onto the update post. Am I the asshole for planning on ending my relationship because he acts like his daughter is heiress to my things? We formally broke up today, and he made it very difficult to focus on our conversation. He interrupted me every 5 seconds and was in denial for almost half of it. Asked to meet at a small restaurant, public place strategy, good job OP, to avoid any type of drama. I tried to be respectful, but definitely wanted to bring up my uneasiness and feelings about his behavior. He tried to brush it off at first, but when I insisted, he evaded the subject. I told him what he already knows. My children are my priority as the sole provider, and I want to ensure that they have their needs covered. There were some comments on my other posts that I had thought about but hadn't verbalized. Like, what would he inherit? My kids, or what's his plan for his own kid? I know he doesn't have much, but that's no excuse. OP, do get a will? And, like, set up, trust funds for your kid, maybe. When I established the comparison between what he wanted for his kid versus what he would give to mine, his face changed like I was greedy and he was insulted. He said my kids don't have a dad, that he can provide a paternal figure. They have a granddad. This triggered me so much that I had to try and keep my volume in check. My thought is that being there like a piece of furniture in exchange for financial benefits for his own kid is acceptable to him. I would have loved my kids to have a decent dad, but that's just not in the cards, and right now, I'm better off alone than with Ben. I was so angry that he kept asking me to calm down. He said he's leaving his daughter good knowledge on life in general because there are things that only he can offer her, since her mom is too secular, whatever that means, and I didn't ask him. I said that we needed to break up, and he immediately got upset and left our table. I thought he was gone, but he came back later and claimed he only went to use the restroom. How long was he gone for? I told him that I can't share any part of my life with him after he behaved like a gold digger, and that even if I was able to get past this, I would never even consider getting back together because his intentions are entitled and dishonest. All in all, I'm just glad that we weren't alone. He has high blood pressure issues. Real, I've seen the medication. And I've suspected some type of mental health issue, going from 0 to 100 for names that seemed incongruent. He didn't love her, just the money. It doesn't say how long they've been together? but I do wonder if he was looking at whatever field she was going to school for and went, oh, she will eventually make money, so I should get in before she does. So that any money she makes afterwards when she becomes, you know, will be shared marital assets. And then she actually got it all off the ground before they got married, so now it's premarital assets and he's not, you know, obliged to have it. I understand he wants a better life for his daughter, but that's not how you do it. Exactly, Overlord. He said he was truly sorry if he offended me, and he said he felt tricked and betrayed. That breaks are meant for introspection and to seek improvement, not to abandon a relationship. Yeah, she had introspection and decided to break the relationship. That my actions will have an impact on his daughter because she really likes me. I offered to have a last call or text with her, and if he agreed, but his answer was, no, fluff you don't get to say anything to her. Oh, so he's definitely going to be painting her as the bad person in his daughter's life. Hopefully she's old enough to have her own phone and can reach out on her own. He said that I'm caught up in my new mainstream life. Whatever that means is fluffing offensive considering that I've worked for my financial stability after a few years of things not being great. He told me to go suck on my colleagues' adult parts, but immediately apologized. I told him I'm not surprised at his behavior, since it shows me that he seems to think sex can solve anything. I also said that since he was being gross and vulgar, I'm learning just now that men like him are unfluffable, hobosexual, handout seekers, and insincere. I have never heard the phrase hobosexual before. And that I will never date someone who is not financially stable ever again, because this is a huge lesson. I mean, that's a little unfair to everybody else out there, but fair enough also. She doesn't need the mental stress. I wish that I could say that I left him sitting alone at the table, but he left first. When I was about to get my handbag to pay for my food, he rushed to get his backpack and walked off really quick. I blocked him everywhere, but I already changed my locks. Good job, OP. He never had a key, nor did he stay over, but I'm being cautious. This is so nice. Because he could have always stolen a key when you weren't looking, got it duped, and then had access. He called one of our friends in common to vent about me, and she ended up angry with him because he was very insistent that I had mistreated him, and she told him that she needed to hear my side of the story. OP has a good friend that didn't just buy the story. She and I had a long conversation, and she told me she can't blame me because our group of friends have been noticing the imbalance in our relationship, and how he seemed comfortable including himself in conversations about business and success, when in the 16 years that she'd known him, he'd never gotten anything done. So that's my update. I blocked him on social media and messaging apps. Oh my. That definitely doesn't sound like OP knew him for 16 years, but, you know, good on the friend for sticking up for OP and being willing to help both sides of the story, and not just dogpiling. An OP with a backbone. So refreshing. Thank you for the update. Secular means not religious. I'm guessing that based on the rest of the picture you painted of his man, that his ex doesn't respect his patriarchal rights to tell her her own business and to manage her finances. He sounds like a manipulative partner at best. I don't think you would have ever wanted him as a father figure to your sons. Oh, sounds like he would have been absolutely terrible influence on the kids. Ow, he just doesn't want to be responsible, it seems. And he's in his 40s. I know it takes some people longer to grow up than others, and sometimes they gotta hit rock bottom. Sounds like that hasn't happened to him yet. I want to know what happened to his daughter's mother. Did she pass? Did she leave him for being a leech? Good update, good for you. Some days you lose an ounce, sometimes you gain a couple of pounds. Some days you lose a 250 man baby. Those are the best days. Not the asshole, you dodged a bullet. My guess is mainstream life means modern woman who earns well and spends her own money. Oh yeah. If secular means not religious, then he sounds super religious. Thank you for the CP Shakabi. I never reset the timer. Oh well. He talks like he wants a docile trad wife with sugar mama money to spend on him. You cannot have both of these things unless you inherit the money. I feel bad for her kids. He used her child's lack of a father to try and get to her, and that's low. It is. Like, if he really cared about that, he would have been offering all of that already without any expectations. He's not upset that you broke up. He's upset that you weren't falling for his manipulation, and that now he has to lose you as his financial fallback. You handled everything graciously. The fact that he tried using his daughter as another form of manipulation to try and get you to reconsider, though we're turning around and not giving a shit about her feelings and not letting you have a proper goodbye, shows where his true priorities lie. Congratulations on losing a moocher. You can now freely live your life without his constant backhanded remarks and attempts to ingratiate his daughter to you. I just feel bad for her, but that's not in your control, that's entirely on him. Ah, he's in a cult, isn't he? Well, he really dodged a bullet. He did everything right and handled it way better than a lot of people would have, to be honest. He showed his true colors. Hard AF, like throwing tantrums, guilt-tripping, then straight up disrespecting you when you wouldn't play along. I hate how these types of men think they can offer father figure vibes as payment, while you foot the rest of the life expenses. You protected yourself and your kids, and that's what matters. Now he can go introspect somewhere far the F away. Unpleasant chapter, life closed. Does OP ever respond to any of these? Let's go up. Let's see if they ever do. Comments. Oh yes, now I get it. He used to complain that his ex and his brother's ex were domineering. Now I'm thinking that maybe they just refused to take shit. Oh. Here it is, the post that makes every conservative's a nightmare. A fiscally responsible and intelligent single woman, a primary sole parent no less, who is able to reject men that are not up to standard. That man banked on his gender, simply the luck of being born male, entitling him and his own daughter to the fruits of all your efforts. If this were 50 plus years ago, it could have, but no more. I'm happy for you, OP. Enjoy your success and make sure you raise your boys to never be like your ex. By the way, secular means not religious, or things outside the realm of traditional religious values. It might help you understand his entitlement based on traditional gender roles, and why he felt his manly presence was enough. If he was that down the rabbit hole, then he would have wanted her to quit her job, I think. But I just want to take advantage. I don't like people like that. But again, if you're just dating someone and they ask you to add them or someone they know to your will, run away. That sounds like I want to trap you into a relationship, and then you'll just happen to have an accident. It'll be nobody's fault. Don't worry about it. No, worry about it. Worry about it all the time.